Welcome to From Beyond with your host, Glenn Boddice. Join me as we explore spirituality, self-help, and channeling spirit. Hello and welcome to From Beyond with your host, Glenn Boddice, spiritual medium. Thank you for joining in for another deep dive conversation. I'm very excited for this one because I'm joined by my amazing co-host, Kristina Bloom. And in today's episode, we're going to be discussing the topic of a survival guide to living in the Matrix. A few people are scratching their heads hearing that title there. So I'm going to introduce you to Kristina Bloom. How the heck are you? Are you well?
I am fabulous. Yes. How are you?
Well, first of all, let's see what you've been up to, and then we'll move on to me.
Okay.
I'm telling you off. I'm showing my bossy side, everybody.
Yes,
so
you are.
What have you
You're
been
good
doing?
at bossy, though. I have been going to events a lot. So every weekend I'm on the road. I bought a car I can camp in. So I'm checking out campgrounds all over the country, which is kind of fun. So far, it's East Coast in U.S. and Midwest U.S. So, that's about 1,000-mile span of campgrounds that I'm checking out. So,
What?
yeah. And going to different events and doing some seances. I've working on my schedule for winter and next spring already. So I've got a couple of retreats, a drum making class,
Wow.
some speaking engagements, some seances. So yeah, it's a lot of stuff coming up. And like every weekend I work. People like, I don't know how you can do that working every weekend because I don't really have a schedule during the week.
Okay.
Right. I take clients, I do my admin, but I don't really have like a work schedule during the week. Right. So I don't have to go to a job Monday through Friday and then do weekends. So
Pretty
that's how I'm
flexible.
able to do that. But I was listening to your last episode of From Beyond and a day in the life of, of Glenn Boddice. And I'm going, how do you fit all that in that span of time? Like, that's crazy. I was just like, wow, okay. You are
Bless you.
definitely far more organized than I am. I would not be able to get that all in one day.
I would say, similar to yourself, how you were saying that you leave it for the weekend sort of thing and you have
Mhm.
that sort of flexibility in the week. For me, I have that mentality, right? Okay, I don't clock watch as such. I know
Mhm.
that I've got these activities to do in that day and I just focus on getting them done. And I think once you take your head out of looking at the clock, get rid of that
Yeah.
anxious thinking, relax into it. And once you've done one job, think, okay, yep, we'll move on to this next thing.
Right.
Genuinely, is that the word? How I do it. But I was only
Awesome.
thinking with you, because we was having the conversation off air and you were saying, I've been on the road, I've been having trouble sleeping and all of this. And I'm not surprised. You're making drums, you're doing seances, you're working with clients, you're doing
Yeah.
talks. I was going to
A lot
say,
of high energy stuff.
how do you
Yeah.
fit it all in? Well, obviously you don't sleep. That's how you manage it.
Well, yeah, but when I'm lying there in a campground and going, all right, time to sleep. Close your eyes. Close your eyes. Okay. Up. Eyes are wide open. What was that? You
Oh,
know?
you get
So
spooked easily, do you?
Not usually, but this last time there was just some weird noises, like something, it was probably just a deer or something, but something large walked past my vehicle because I sleep in my vehicle. That's why I bought this one. Um, but it was just like right next to my head when it was walking by. So yeah, that kind of got my attention. I didn't
Oh,
see it. I only heard it, but
you're going
yeah.
squatching. Is that the right
Squatching
word?
could have been a squatch. I wish he would have,
Yeah.
stopped and chatted. I've got his picture right on my car. He could have just said, "Hey, that's my brother," but
Awesome. Wow, that sounds epic what you've been up to
yeah.
there. Can I just ask as well, how is it in terms of footfall at these events? Is there still that passion and enthusiasm into all things weird and wonderful over there?
For me or for everybody?
For everybody, the general public, is there
Yeah.
still that fascination there? Is a good footfall
Um,
over at
it's
these
kind
events?
of, much like you were saying in England, there's some financial stuff going on for most
Okay.
people. And so there has been kind of a downturn in the number of people that come. But what I've been noticing is that we're having quality instead of quantity. So the people who are coming are really invested in their own spiritual
Yeah.
growth. They're really invested in, getting information, finding the tools that they feel like they need, connecting with people. So those are the people, they're more serious about it.
Yeah.
Whereas, maybe a year ago, we would have had more looky-loos,
Lucky
people
yous.
like, oh,
Like it.
well, I wasn't
Look
doing
what
anything and
we
this looked
got
interesting.
here. What we
Yeah,
got here.
basically, yeah. It is interesting, though, that the people who are coming to the events, even though there are fewer people that seem to be coming to some of the
Yeah.
events, that they are more invested in themselves. So they're willing to sit down with readers. They're willing to,
Yeah.
really talk to the crystal vendors and find out who knows what about what they're selling, and, you know, um, looking at the different maybe tarot or oracle decks and really feeling out what works best for them. So
Mhm.
it's people who are really more invested in themselves. So they are still spending money. They save up for these events
Oh,
so that they
brilliant.
can spend
Yeah.
money for it. So, that's the difference. I feel like it's more quality than quantity. Like it used to be a lot more people just kind of going through because they really didn't have anything better to do that day.
Yeah, yeah, that's interesting. I like the key
Yeah.
word invested there as well that you were
Hmm.
using, and the fact that, yeah, I think a lot of people that are invested are now seeing that it is a lifestyle choice. It's not just a
Yes.
source of entertainment, is it? It's,
Right.
something that you have to commit to on a daily basis. So that's a wonderful that you're having that experience over there
Yeah.
at these events, and it must make it worth all of that time traveling and sleeping in the back of your vehicle and
Yeah.
hearing Sasquatch knocking on your door at 3 a.m. in the morning.
If they had knocked and we could have had a conversation, it would have been great. No, they just made noise. And I do have to say, it's kind of funny because I was actually chatting with a friend. It was kind of earlier in the evening, and um, I heard something small kind of waddle past my car, and
Oh,
then I got a faint smell of skunk.
oh
And then
dear.
a dog in the next campsite started barking, and the owner's like, "No!" He reached and then I heard a camper door slam. So they must have got the dog inside. But it was just kind of, it just the faint smell because it walked past my car. But the funny thing about that is that skunk is my spirit totem animal. And
Oh,
so for
okay.
me, I was like, "Oh, thank you for the blessing." And other people are like, "A skunk."
I don't think I've ever smelt one, when they're angry. That sounds a wrong statement to start this
Right. Well,
conversation
this
with.
one wasn't angry. It's just kind
Okay.
of the scent it had waddling past my car. But because I have the screens on my windows
You
and the
could,
windows open,
yeah.
I could smell it. Yeah.
What was there was a character, cartoon character. Was it Pepe Le Pew,
Pepe Le Pew.
a
Yeah.
French skunk?
Yes,
Yes,
he was a naughty French skunk.
I remember that. Showing our age, aren't we?
Yeah, we are.
So, for me, I would say life's been very interesting. Lots of
Awesome.
twists and changes where I've had to be more flexible, adaptable with the work that I do. I've had to just go with the flow a little bit more. And actually, in doing so, surrendering, I think, is a key word
Mhm.
I'd like to use. It hasn't been as bad as what my mind was anticipating. And
Yeah.
so for me, that has put me in that mindset that, again, I preach it to so many people that everything happens for a reason. What is meant for you won't pass you by. Stop sweating the
Yeah.
small stuff. Just go with it. Trust, you're going
Yeah.
to be, you're safe. You're going to be all right. So I've been
Yeah.
experiencing a lot of that recently, and I've had to make some tweaks and changes with my online teaching.
Mhm.
With you mentioning time earlier, it seems that although I do get a lot done in the week, I'm having to sort of make that decision and maybe just cancel one of the classes because it was getting too overwhelming. And actually, it's freed me up to do house calls, which is
Nice.
something that I haven't done for some years there, where you do some house cleansing, some house parties there. So
Yep.
I'm kind of looking forward to getting back into that because it's, as you know, doing this work, although it is very people focused, when you work from home, it's very much it's you, your laptop, and your internet provider, and obviously
Right.
client. So it's going to be nice integrating back into society,
Awesome.
albeit gently. So
Yes.
that's what I've been doing. And I've just been telling
Yeah.
you, I got excited today because I've just taken delivery of a new vacuum cleaner. And I don't know whether it's an age thing at my age. I got all excited and I can't wait to fire it up, fire it.
I love it. You know what it is? Cat hair. That's why you're so excited about it, is cat
Yes,
hair.
honestly, yeah, we have a little cat called Callie, and
Yes.
you don't realize how much they shed, do you? Until
Yeah.
your Hoover breaks, your vacuum cleaner breaks, and you're like,
hmm
"Oh my word, has somebody died in here?"
Yeah, because that's
But
quite a smell with the burning hair and the burning motor and the ugh.
yeah,
Uh,
my other vacuum cleaner, should we say, the motor just burnt out halfway through a clean. And of course, you're in panic mode. What am I gonna do?
Yep. And then Spirit talks to you and
Yeah,
tells you to go on Marketplace.
they did. Yeah, I shared this with you earlier. Straight away, I go into panic mode when anything goes wrong. But my guides were very clear, very loud, and they said, "Glenn, Facebook Marketplace." I was looking around, smelling the fumes of this burning engine. I was like, "Oh, okay, thank you." I looked on there and managed to purchase one within minutes of the other one breaking down. So I was absolutely over the moon, and I think that's why I'm excited because it's
Awesome.
all these
That's awesome.
synchronicities
Yeah.
line up.
Synchronicity.
Yeah,
It's not the vacuum you're excited about, it's synchronicity.
it is. Yeah, I don't know. It's a
Yeah, it might
beast.
be the vacuum too.
Yeah, I'm. Did you ever used to watch? Is it Home Improvement with what's his name? Tim
Yes.
Taylor. Yeah,
Tim the Toolman
Toolman
Taylor.
Taylor. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think when I fire it up, I'm going to go "Arr,
Arr.
arr," tearing around the stairs and the landing. "Arr, go on.
Well, if I lived next door to you, I'd have you come over and hoover my flat too.
Best buy a penny then, hadn't I? Okay. Well, we've got
Yeah.
lots to discuss. As we said, we're going to be
Yeah.
discussing today the topic of a survival guide to living in the
The
Matrix. So, first of
Matrix.
all,
Yeah.
for those people that don't know what the Matrix is, I would say it's the norm. It's what we've been presented with to be the norm, reality as we're led to believe. And it's basically, we're going to talk about how sensitive souls, not necessarily mediums, but people who are awake and aware, that have to
Yes.
maybe dial their vibration down, dumb down slightly to fit in, or at least appear to fit in this level of living. That's what we're
Right.
talking about in a nutshell, aren't we? And we're going to offer
Right.
some
Right.
guidance and personal anecdotes as well along this. So
As to not be insulting to those who are not finding their way out of the matrix. I don't
oh
know that
yeah,
it's so much dumbing down. I think it's more it's more of a choosing to see it. You know what I mean?
that's a better term. Yeah, you're more
Yeah,
PC than me, politically correct.
probably a little
Just
bit.
yeah.
Not usually though.
Oh, you got a swear
Come
jar
on
near that
now.
microphone.
My
God
swear
damn.
jar is in the cabinet behind me.
Oh
It's
God.
almost full now. Um,
There's your next trip to England paid for.
yeah, there you go. That's right. You should probably start stepping up on the swearing. But no, we decided next is Scotland anyway, right? So
Yeah, a hider. That's
either
probably I've
one.
insulted loads of people by doing that. But yeah, I'd love that. I've been
Yeah,
to Edinburgh.
yeah.
Anyway, we're
Yeah.
going way off point, aren't we? We're going way off point.
We haven't talked in enough. We haven't been talking enough. That's why we keep going way off point
It
because we're
is.
catching
Yeah.
up on the chatter that we normally used to do. But we've both been so busy that we haven't chattered lately. So,
That is very true. So let's dive in deep then. A survival guide to living in the Matrix. First of
yeah.
all, let's just share our observations, the changing times of the world that we're currently living in 2025. What have
Oh
you
man.
observed? Obviously, you're in the USA, but you've also
Yeah.
dipped your toe over into this pond in the UK this year.
Right. Right.
So what's your observations?
It's interesting, and I'm going to kind of equate this to how much time I drive because I spend a lot of time driving.
Hmm.
Um, the car that I bought right before I went to England now has more than 9,000 miles on it, so I've been driving a lot.
After a new one in about 6 months.
No, this is a brand new car. I got to keep it going. Anyway, um, what I've noticed is that people kind of come in two different categories. Those who are very aware of what's going on around them, and those who are in their own little bubble and don't see anybody else. And, when we're talking on the road, wow, we have passing lanes. I know you do too, but
Hmm.
our passing lanes, when you have somebody camped out in the passing lane 15 miles an hour under the speed limit because they're just in their own little bubble, it's like how do you wake them up? I have been kind of just sending energy to these people to gently get them to move over into the slower lane so
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
can get where they need to be. But I've also noticed it just being out like at stores, and people have their shopping carts, or you call them trolleys, I guess. But
We do.
um, they're just not aware that there are other people around them. I don't know where my voice went when I said that, but people are just not
You turned
aware.
into Marge Simpson then
I
in
kind of
just a
did for a second.
heartbeat. Homie.
Homer. Um, but I've just noticed that people are really in their own little bubbles and they're not paying attention to what's going on around them. And I feel like, I don't know if you guys are feeling this over there, but my sense is that people are just kind of putting on protective bubbles in order to not feel all the anxiety that's going on right now.
Mm,
But they've got their bubble on so heavy that they're not noticing other people. They're not noticing when they're running into other people. They're not noticing when they're cutting other people off. It's crazy. Whether that's on the road, in stores, walking down the sidewalk, people are just in their own little worlds. And that's one thing that I've noticed. And then there's also people are kind of going into different thought processes as well, right? So
mm,
there's the people who are going, okay, I get it. The Matrix is real. They told us about that 20 some years ago. This is now we're starting to understand this more. And then there's the people who are so stuck in this is the way things are done. This is the way things are done. We're not changing anything. We're not moving forward with anything. I don't care. I'm not changing anything. And we have this generational war thing going on, which doesn't make any sense to me. Like, why are generations fighting with each other? That doesn't make
mm.
any sense. It's a distraction. I think there's a lot of distraction going on. I feel like there's a lot of um, get people arguing with each other and they won't be paying attention to what's happening.
Oh, now we're getting juicy. I like it.
Yeah, I
Yeah, I
think that's
like
where
it.
it goes, whether it's politics, religion, age, generation wars, whatever it
Yeah.
is, get people arguing and then they won't pay attention to what's actually going on. So, what's your take on?
Well, I think you kind of nailed it, but basically, just to follow on from that, if I can,
Yeah.
is I would agree with you. Definitely in the UK at the moment, everybody seems to be preoccupied mentally. There's so much to think about, your personal life. You've got the bills. How are you going to afford those bills? You as soon as you leave your front door, you're accosted by, right, that costs this much. We're going to tax you for that. So everybody's got
Mhm.
all of that information around them. And to the point where they're not being present, like you say, because they've
Yeah.
got all of this information, distractions, as you called it. And it does beg the question, why are we all of a sudden experiencing these distractions? These elements of society and pressures have been here for, hundreds and hundreds of years. So why now
Yeah.
all of a sudden that it's been amped up? And I would agree with you that there's something, it's like the old magician trick, isn't it? Sleight of hand. Look at this, look at the shiny blue coin. And then behind there, something else is happening.
Hmm.
Something being shifted, changed. So I've
Yeah.
observed that with people, definitely people, when crossing roads, people are
Yeah.
either busy on their phones, they've got their headphones on, or if they haven't got any of that on, they just walk out with no due care or consideration for anybody at all. You've only got to think, if a driver was not paying attention and happened to hit one of those pedestrians, look at the trauma, the years in therapy that that driver would have because of
Yeah.
that individual not paying due care and attention.
Right.
Obviously it
Right.
takes two to tango, but you see my point.
I
Also, I've
do.
experienced people, like you say, with the driving, a lot of selfish driving is happening at the
Yeah.
moment. The times I've had to be on the ball and swerve into another lane because somebody hasn't seen that I'm actually in that lane, how they can miss a bright white van.
And
I'll
it's a big
never know.
van. It's not a small
Yeah,
van.
I will never
It's
know. But for some reason, they don't see it. Again, this leads us on to another conversation that we'll go into maybe a little bit later on. Um,
okay.
but yeah, there's lots of things happening at the moment. Obviously, with the food sources, food supplies, that's putting potentially people into fear mode. A lot of
Hmm.
people in the supermarkets are. I went the other week and I drink mineral water mainly. Okay.
Hmm.
And I went there the other week. And because there was a change in temperature in the environment, a little bit warmer, people were panic buying and they'd left one case of water left,
Oh, wow.
and normally there's like 4 pallets full, you know.
Yeah.
And so there's that fear vibration there in, shopping for goods and things. Um, Also, I've noticed that people have a very short attention span. And I'm not judging because I'm a bit like this myself. But when you like it yourself, you notice it in
Yeah.
others. And so
Hmm.
when you're having face to face conversations with people, people are very direct, blah, 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 to the point, and then they'll walk away from you and talk to somebody else because they've either got bored, they're not stimulated in their mind enough, even though you're having a pleasant conversation and it's a beautiful
Yeah.
conversation that you're having, they walk off and do the same with somebody else. And you watch these people and they're kind of replicating that behavior with other people. So
Um,
it's nothing to take
yeah.
offense about
I
because
have a
that's,
theory about that.
yeah, okay.
Actually, I've heard other people use this theory as well. I'm not
Okay.
sure where it came from, but um, do you know you don't play video games, do you?
No, no, can't be doing
No.
with it.
Okay. Okay. So there is such a thing in a video game called a non-player character.
I've heard that. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So we call them NPCs. But there are people on the planet that are almost like that. It's almost like they are
Background actors type of thing.
background
Yeah.
actors. That's a good way to put it. Yeah,
Mm,
background actors, or almost like holographic projections.
okay.
It's like, how's the weather? Let's talk about sports. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, or you'll be having a conversation, trying to have a conversation with somebody, and there's nothing behind their eyes. Like you're not seeing anything in their
Mm,
eyes, or they don't hold eye contact. That's another thing.
yeah.
They don't keep eye contact. There's but they're like in the games that my kids and my husband play, you go to these people to get a piece of information and then they just turn around and walk away when they're done with the conversation.
Oh,
And
okay.
and I was like, you said that. I'm like, NPCs. There are NPCs in the world. And those are usually the ones that are so stuck in just the way things are done because they're programmed that way. You know what I mean?
Okay.
It's almost
Yeah.
like a computer program where they're just programmed to just have this specific set of phrases, and that's it.
Wow.
It's yeah,
That
it's
makes a lot
interesting,
of
but I
sense.
for the last few years I've really been noticing that. And then when I talk to other people who are more aware and more awake, um, they're like, "Oh my God, yeah, I've run into those people too." I was in a convenience store, just filled up my car with gas, went in to pay for it, and the two young men behind the counter, one of them was saying to the other one, "Did you see that guy that was just in here? I think he might have been a robot. Like, there's nothing." Like his facial expressions didn't change, nothing. And I walked into hearing this conversation, and yeah, I don't know, it just came out of my mouth. I'm like, yeah, that's an NPC. And they're like, that's it. Yeah. Yeah. So it is really interesting how some people are staying so stuck in the matrix, but maybe that's their role.
Yeah. Do you know what? You just reminded me of an amazing film. It's quite an old one
Mhm.
now, but it's still very, very relevant. And that is The Truman Show. Don't know
Oh,
if you
yeah.
recall that. And
Yeah.
that was like that. He was trying to engage in really stimulating conversation. But a lot of these actors, because it wasn't on script, they didn't know what to do. And they was like, yeah, yeah, okay, bye then. Because
Uh-huh.
it wasn't
Yeah,
on script, it
exactly.
wasn't in the program. So it reminded me of that. So, yeah, wow, great example. There's a lot of that around, it seems, globally. So,
Right.
what about, do you think rules and regulations globally are sort of, it feels to me like there's a tightening of the grip that's currently in operation?
Yeah. Yeah. I have a take on that. I'm curious about
Okay.
yours, though. Um, my take on that is that there has been, and I sound like such a conspiracy theorist when I say this, but those in charge who have been benefiting from, those people not from the rest of us who are not in charge, they're tightening their grip because they're feeling like
Mm,
like they're losing control because so many more people are becoming more aware that they can step out of the matrix, so to speak, that
yeah.
we can, it's like I can't even fathom going back to my previous thought patterns that kept me stuck in this is the way we do everything and there's no changing it. This is just the way it is. And I now can't even fathom getting back into that mindset. But it's those who have kept people in that mindset by controlling the money, by controlling the financial systems, by controlling the food supplies, by controlling blah, blah, technology, all
Yeah.
of this. Um, they're realizing at and I sound like I'm talking about individuals. It's more like
It's a
I don't
select
know,
collective, isn't it? A
a
select collective.
collective, a
Yeah.
consortium of some sort that things are tightening down. They're trying to tighten things down because people are realizing that they don't have to go along with that script. And I
Mm,
think that's why it's a response to the light being shown in the dark. That's
I
the way I'm
like
seeing
that.
it.
Yeah.
So, what is your take on it?
Um, yeah, I feel as though, similar to yourself, that all of this, although it is perceived as pressure of you can't do that, you can't do this, you can't do that, and obviously people are like, no, but like nature, like a weed or a flower in a concrete jungle,
Hmm.
wherever there's light, it will always find a way to germinate and come through. So I
Yes.
feel as though without all of this pressure, this contrast, shall we say, it's providing the light an opportunity to
Yes.
grow through it. So it's very much, it
Yeah.
goes in hand, I feel as though. Um, you could look either side of the coin. Oh, we've got this new rule that's come in. That means we can't do this. But like I say, it's giving you that sort of contrast to feel, maybe go deeper within yourself, to find a new way that sits better rather than following somebody else's agendas.
Right.
So I feel as though, yeah, that this is why it's occurring. And I agree with what you're saying that, yeah, there's so shall we say that the grip on control is loosening. And so they're throwing everything that they can into the mix to confuse you, to overwhelm you, to make you feel small, to distract you, take you from your true self, your true authenticity. Because once they've done that, they have control over you, so they're wanting to take you away from your true self. So I would say, yeah, it is changing. And what we're experiencing at the moment in the world is this last stand. And even though it is hitting quite hard globally, everywhere, all at the same time, it would appear so. But actually underneath that, like I say, there is this innate light that's coming through the surface, punching through, shall we say, with new ways of being, of existing. I think we got channelings through, was it at the beginning of the year, talking about new communities forming in the, shall we say, that the throes of all these rules and regulations. And we're kind of starting to see that occurring, aren't we, globally at the moment?
We are.
So, yeah, that would be my take upon that. Definitely.
Yeah. So I have a question for you. So,
okay.
Have you noticed glitches in the Matrix? I know we've talked about time glitches before, but have you noticed any others?
Okay, so let's define glitches for the viewers and listeners that aren't maybe on the same page. So we're talking about things that are like rules and regulations, and all of a sudden they flip the script, and it shouldn't be doing that. It's like an abomination of nature. Why is that happening? So we're talking about that with glitches. Sorry to add that clarity there, but I know that some people
that's good. That's good.
would be thinking.
I was actually thinking before we got on the call that we should probably define glitches. And
okay, excellent.
People are defining glitches in different ways that I've noticed when I'm having conversations, and a lot of them do have to do with time.
Yeah, I would say so glitches in the Matrix, time warping. I have witnessed that recently. And it does feel like all of a sudden, say you start your week, your working week, and it will feel like it's just gently plodding up. You're just dipping your toe in the week. And then before you know it, it just gains momentum and it goes all crazy. And before you know it, 5 hours have gone. And you're like, where the heck is that 5 hours gone? I'm not exactly doing something that inspires me, that brings me joy to miss 5 hours. I'm feeling the labor, I'm feeling the pain, I'm feeling, all of the draining from doing the labor and everything. And you think, where's that gone? So I've noticed it that way. I've also noticed in cloud formations in the sky, and this could lead on to another topic and conversation. And you think, that doesn't look normal. That's not natural. That shouldn't be looking like that, which some of them, I think we've had this conversation before, could be our friends, our UFO friends, cloaking mechanisms, disguising themselves as clouds. And sometimes they get away with it. Other times you think, that is never a cloud. It's not round. It's like jagged, and you think, what the heck? There's never a cloud like that. So it can be quite clumsy, can't it? So I've noticed that. Anything else? People speaking as well. It affects people, the way that they communicate, and there's a lot of stammering that I've noticed people doing and tripping up over their words. And I do it myself. you're wanting to say a certain word and another one comes in,
Comes
overshadows
out.
it
Yeah.
straight away. And so those glitches, um, I don't know if this is overlaying that I've seen, or I think it's more overlaying from spirit, where I've noticed people's facial expressions change and like as if somebody's overshadowing them. But that is, again, a different topic. But
Right. Well, it could
those,
also be a glitch in the matrix,
I suppose so, yeah, when the,
you know, when
you
somebody's
know,
face changes right in front of you.
oh, that's taken us down another path of, reptilians and things, isn't it? With that
I don't know,
cloaking
but I've had people tell
mechanism.
me your face just changed.
Okay.
And I'll be like, what do you mean my face just changed? I don't know. For a minute, you look like somebody else.
Wow.
Oh, okay. Who? I don't know. But for a minute, your face looked like somebody else. And so, if someone is coming through me, maybe sharing information. I mean, I don't usually leave myself that wide open.
Hmm.
It could be a spirit stepped in front of me and imposed over me. I don't know. I don't know, but
That is
I've noticed things
fascinating.
like that. Yeah.
It's
And
almost taking
yeah.
me down another tangent with you saying that. The fact
Okay.
that everything is not past, present, and future, everything is happening now.
Happening now. Yeah.
So maybe on some level, some frequency, um, somebody that we considered to be in the past is actually not in the past. They're here and now,
Right.
and they're occupying the same space as you, which potentially could be a glitch in the matrix as we know it. But in actual fact,
Mhm.
in terms of the universe, it's all happening now. And because
Right.
our perception is changing, we're able to pick up on that duality. We're
Yeah.
going deep.
Perception filters. Which show
Yes.
was that from? That was from a show, Perception Filters.
Oh, write that down. There's one for future.
Yeah, I think it was a Doctor Who thing, but
Okay.
yeah, where they can make themselves look like something else with a perception filter, or he had that blank notebook that, the perception filter would tell whatever the person he showed it to needed to see. It would show it like a badge or whatever. It would look like that to that person because of a perception filter. And I feel
Oh,
like
wow.
perception filters are something that exist here, but we haven't really explored it much,
Hmm.
except for maybe people who write things like that. But as a whole, we really haven't explored it much because our perceptions change. What is that? When you remember something, but it didn't happen that way. What is that called?
Oh, what's it called? Mandala effect, is that right?
Mandala effect.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I, to me, the Mandala effect is definitely a glitch in Matrix.
Oh, yeah. Because people, yeah, that's interesting you bring that up because people talk about like cereal boxes looking a certain way and a certain
Yes.
character and a free gift in it. And then people
Yes.
talk and talk and they do the research to reminisce and they look online and they're like, no, that never happened. That wasn't there. It's almost as if something or somebody is changing the narrative of the past to fit the current trajectory, if that makes
Right.
sense.
Boy, if that's not a glitch in the Matrix, I don't know what is.
Wow. Yeah.
I
Again,
mean, seriously, like,
hijacking perceptions.
yeah,
Wow.
generations. Like, I was watching a TikTok video, and this lady was talking about everybody in my generation that I have ever talked to remembers it this way, but go look it up. It says it never happened. Okay,
Wow.
so they're changing perceptions of entire generations of people.
Mm.
Like that's who's doing it.
Well, there was somebody talking about the classic novels
Hmm.
um, throughout literature that there was going to rebadge them and sort of edit them in a way that was more palatable to a modern audience.
Hmm.
And so, isn't that changing, thoughts and ideals
Perceptions. Yeah,
and perceptions in doing that?
absolutely. It makes
Wow.
me glad that I kept copies of the classics, even though they're taking up storage space, you know.
Wow.
So that I have what are they going to do? Go back and rewrite the one in my storage unit? I mean, but it is weird though. Like people remember,
Yeah.
a big one is I don't know, the Fruit of the Loom guy keeps popping into my head and they're like, nope, never happened. I remember that commercial. Don't tell me it didn't happen. We remember those things, you know? But there's different things like that that you go back and you look, nope, didn't happen. Or it
Wow.
happened differently. One of the big ones is Ed McMahon with the uh, what was it? Some sweepstakes thing, Publishers Clearinghouse
Okay.
sweepstakes. Like, you know, I remember watching commercials where he would show up on somebody's porch with this big check, you know, like you won the sweepstakes. And now they're going back and saying Ed McMahon never worked for Publishers Clearinghouse. But everybody I know who is, you know, over the age of 40
Yeah.
remembers that. So how did it not happen? You know, that these are the way that there's glitches in the matrix
Wow.
with the
That
mandala
is
effect.
incredible. Yeah, never thought of that. So
Yeah,
you personally then, have you recently or noticed any glitches in the Matrix?
I have,
Oh.
but I don't really, how do I explain it? It's almost like, and again, I'm driving, right? So
Hmm.
I found myself on the drive home this Saturday night trying to glitch the matrix myself by going, you know what? There have been times when I have skipped ahead and got there in a lot less time. Let's do it now. It it didn't work, but I'm not going to give up trying. So, um, but yeah, I have seen like it's an effect that's used in video editing where it's like the whole picture shakes and then some colors flash and then
Oh, like a Scooby Doo moment.
kind of yeah, it's but I've seen that happen when I'm driving.
Wow.
Um, I was driving, I don't remember, sometime recently, and I was the only person on the road, on this road. It was a
Hmm.
two-way highway. It was later at night, and um, something flashed on my phone. I glanced down, I glanced back up, and there was a full semi truck and trailer in front of me that was not on the road before. Where did he come from? He was like not even a quarter of a mile away from me, maybe 200
Wow.
meters. He wasn't there before. Or I say he, assuming it was a male driver, but
Yeah.
that truck was not there before. Where did it come from? It just appeared in front of me on a secondary highway. Like, I don't understand where that truck came
Mm.
from. To me, that is definitely a glitch in the matrix. It's not like it was
Yeah.
dark out. I would have seen his lights if he was
Of
further
course you
ahead.
would.
You know, I didn't see any lights. There was nobody else out there.
Like we were saying, it could be set dressing to set the scene, to
Yeah.
keep you subdued. Let's dive into this. On your long drives, if you were the only driver on that road, your mind would be maybe connecting spiritually to the land, to locations. You will be having inspirational thoughts and ideals.
Hmm.
Maybe that set dressing was to snap you out of that and to bring you back here so that you didn't have that inspired thought and that wisdom coming in.
That very well could be.
Just a thought.
That's a deep dive thought right
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that very well could be. It could be that it was there and I just didn't see it because I wasn't in the same frequency.
Oh, there is that.
Yeah.
There is that as well. Actually, while we're talking about that, you
Yeah.
shared an amazing video with me the other day, and that's what's inspired this conversation today.
Okay.
And
Right. You raise your energy and you vibrate at a higher frequency, lower frequency people can't see you.
that's right. And this
Yeah.
this guy on the video was mentioning that it says, for example, if you were to, like a wooden top, a spinning top, you were to
Hmm.
spin that child's toy really, really, really fast. Initially, you could see it when it was there before you span it.
Right.
Keep spinning it, and you lose focus on that image. You can't see
Right.
it tangibly like you did before. So I thought that was a great way of illustrating when we vibrate
Right.
our vibration higher, that we become literally invisible to people that aren't matched to that. And
Story time.
I thought that was
Story
incredible.
time. I have a
Go on then.
story.
Go on.
Okay. Um,
I'm listening.
Years ago, probably now 5 years ago, of course, life is now split to pre and post pandemic. So this was pre-pandemic. And I was in my office. I was teaching a class. It was an advanced psychic development class.
Yeah.
And one of the it's interesting because it was a men's class. It was all men in that class. And one of the gentlemen in the class said, "How does someone become invisible?" And I said, "I don't know. Let me ask my spirit guides." The answer that came back immediately was, "You raise your frequency high enough where nobody else can see you." And then he asked me, "Can you do that?" I said, "I've never tried." So I did. And I just kept raising my frequency. And apparently, I mean, I'm taking their word for it. Nobody videoed it, but I'm
Yeah.
taking their word for it that as my energy went higher, I became less visible.
Whoa.
And now, again, I'm taking their word for it.
Of course. Yeah.
I would not know, but it was just interesting because I it took me a long time to drive home that night because I did not leave until I knew I was all the way back in this frequency where it was safe to drive.
Yeah.
But apparently, if you raise your frequency high enough, you can intentionally make yourself not visible to other people because their perception can't see it. They would have had to raise their energy as well to see me,
This
theoretically.
that also ties into spirit as well, doesn't it? Because
Hmm.
they have to lower their energy to be visible and hold that
Yes.
frequency in our dimension to be witnessed and seen. So,
Right.
um, because they're naturally higher vibrational beings, we
Hmm.
don't realize that they're around us at every moment, at every single day, even though we're constantly being told that this is the case.
Right.
So that is
Because,
fascinating. So those people that are sensitive or have made mediumistic skills, they're able to contact and see these people in spirit because of, like you say, that heightening of the vibration, tuning
hmm.
into that frequency and holding that frequency enough to
Right.
detect that information.
Right. So it's us bringing our frequency in and spirit bringing their frequency down where we can meet somewhere in the middle.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fascinating. Wow. I love that. Great story. So,
Thanks.
here I've got one for you. How can
Yeah.
the matrix system affect sensitives, people that are, attuned to energy, that recognize different frequencies? How can the matrix potentially affect them? What signs do they need to look out for?
What's coming to me as you asked that question was awareness. How aware are we of the matrix? How aware are we of the spirits? How aware are we of our own frequencies? So there's so much that comes into play, and we could literally do an entire series of
Mm,
shows on the matrix because there's so much involved in it. But how can the system affect sensitives is that it really depends on your level of awareness. If you're very aware of it, then you can understand, I guess, in mentally what's happening. But if you're not aware and you're only having the experience without the awareness and understanding of the matrix, then it can be very confusing. It can make people feel like they're crazy. It
mhm.
can it can be disorienting. It can, I mean, people making doctor's appointments because they're like, "I'm seeing things." Well, that doctor may not have raised their vibration to the point where they can see the things too.
Yeah.
you know so and I don't want the other thing is that that can be very very easily confused with some mental disorders or some mental illnesses. So there's that fine line too where people walk. And I've had people ask me over the years a number of times, how many people are in mental institutions or have been in mental institutions because they have heightened awareness. But if you don't
Mm,
understand that you have heightened awareness, then it can be a very difficult thing to deal with.
that's interesting. Um, I would say, to add to what you've said there, about it can affect sensitives to disbelieve what they're experiencing. It
Yes.
can make you feel angry, potentially have bouts of aggression, or be really sharp with people, very
Hmm.
stern with people, and then back to your normal self. I would also say it can affect sensitives in a way that, like, the headaches, the ringing in the ears, the blurring of the eyes, um, shakes. It shakes as if like there's a like you have a glucose level issue. Some
Hmm.
people are getting the shakes. Also, just that, I would say those that are paying attention, it's can be a gift in disguise because it's giving you that contrast. Do I
Hmm.
choose to give my energy to what's being presented to me, or am I choosing to give my energy to what feels right? So instead of honoring the senses, the major sense that we're focusing in on are the feelings, that truth vibration. So, in many respects, that contrast is allowing us to go within and to trust and to feel into life a little bit more than perhaps what we have done prior to, I forget your terminology, pre-pandemic
Yes.
era. That was it, wasn't it?
That's the
Yeah.
timeline difference for me. Like that's
Mm.
where it shifted,
Big
you know.
style. Yeah, big style. It
Yeah.
really did wake a lot of people up to, well,
Hmm.
actually, why are we doing this?
Right.
Doesn't add up.
It doesn't add up. This doesn't
Yeah,
make sense. Why do we keep
yeah.
doing this? Yeah. Yeah. It is very interesting that people who are not in tune, they just look at us and go, "Pff, you're nuts." You know? Well, maybe we are, but so many people now are experiencing such similar things that if we're going
Mm.
crazy, then we're doing it as a group.
So, with this being said,
Yeah.
and people will be watching this and listening to this thinking, yeah, I've done that. I've experienced
Hmm.
this and I've done that. And my ears are ringing and they're popping and going in and out of, I'm having to do that and yawn to get my
Hmm.
ears right. Um, then in this case, what survival tips can we offer to these individuals to make life more palatable for them in these changing times?
First of all, just know that these are naturally occurring things because of frequency. You know, a lot of people, if you can bring it down, I don't know if down is the right word, but if you can bring it to science, higher frequencies create high pitch noises, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're a music producer, you know that, right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah, higher frequencies create those high pitch noises. So, if you're tuning into a higher pitch noise, that's a higher frequency that, maybe is getting leveled off with you. Um, excuse me. I would say talk to people. I mean, the two of us are on here. We're both on social media. We're both pretty easy to find. So, if you're having questions, reach out, ask your question. You know, it, if all you want to do is find out if this is a break from the matrix, if it's an ascension thing, reach out and ask a question. I mean, I'm certainly willing to answer those questions. I believe you are too.
Of
You know,
course, yeah.
to let people know it's okay. It's okay. And even if you're going crazy, you're in good company. So it's all good, reaching out like that. Other things that people, and I know I've been experiencing this in the last few weeks, where my entire body feels like static electricity. Have you been having that too? I don't know, but
Um, mm, I would say the tingles, but I always
okay.
associate that with spirit, being
Okay.
around energy changing around the physical and energetic
Okay.
body.
I get that kind of tingles too.
Hmm.
This is more like I could feel all of the molecules in my body vibrating.
Oh,
Like
wow.
like I don't know. I don't know if you're old enough to remember when the TV used to go off at like midnight or something, and then after that it was just black and white static. We called them bug fights. I don't know what you guys called them, but
I am, but don't tell everybody.
okay, I won't. That is the closest that I can get to describing what my body felt like.
Okay.
And it would go on for a couple of hours, and then it would feel like waves of energy moving through my body, sometimes sideways, sometimes from the bottom up, sometimes from the top down. And then it would subside. But a few days later, I'd have the same thing for an hour or two. And this has been going on for the last couple of weeks. So
Wow.
I'm assuming that my frequency is being adjusted to the higher frequencies that Earth is moving into. Um, I haven't talked to anyone else who's had that exact same experience, but I have a feeling that once this is released, people are going to go, is that what that is?
Definitely.
Oh my
Yeah,
God. Just knowing that other people are having similar experiences is a really good way. It's a good survival technique just to know you're not alone in it,
definitely.
you know. And
I
back
would,
to you.
yeah, I would add to what you've said there. I would agree with what you said, but also add that creating space for yourself is
Mhm.
paramount in these changing times because, like you've mentioned, with the heightening of your vibrations and everything, we're normally very busy people. We're allocating every moment for every single day. And it's not allowing us to have these upgrades, because we're not creating that space. And when we allow this space to come into our life,
Mhm.
then this is where we can have these seamless ascension upgrades. What I did at the weekend, I've been working flat out for probably 3 weeks, 7 days a week, morning, noon, and night. Except this weekend, I had a blank space in my calendar. I thought, I'm just going to go with the flow with this one. I'm not going to
Mhm.
fill it with stuff. And in doing so, I was like chilling out, watching the shows that I enjoy, the comedy shows. And I was finding I wasn't tired. I'd had a beautiful night's sleep and I was being literally taken out. I'd be watching this and all of a sudden it was, and
Yep.
I could not bring myself round. I could hear what was going off on the TV. Um, and I just couldn't bring myself round until eventually I kind of came to and like thought, where the heck have I been? And to me, that is ascension codes, downloads being installed.
Downloads. Yep.
So some of the tips I will give to the listeners and viewers is create that sacred space for you to have these experiences. It will take the sting out of your tail, so to speak. It will allow
Right.
you to move more seamlessly, and it will stop you being agitated by what's being presented before you in the matrix, so to speak, the general
Right.
collective. It will allow you to move more seamlessly, trust your own internal compass, and go with that rather than following the general narrative. Um, Other survival tips I would say is if you can have a regular practice. Again, it goes in line with what we're saying, have some space for you, but regular practice where you can ground your energies. And what I mean by that is by being present. Because we've mentioned earlier, we're all distracted by social media, everything that we're bombarded day in, day out. From the minute we open our eyes in the morning, we're getting alerts on our phones that's charging on the nightstand there. And so we're not given that rest there. So I would say that, get rid of some of these distractions if you can, and get yourself grounded. Be present, look at your surroundings, smell the smells, taste the tastes, get yourself out in nature. And there's nothing more
That's what I was going to
grounding,
say is nature. Yeah.
yeah, than just sitting
Get
on a
out in
park
nature.
bench with
Yeah.
no agenda, just being there and listening to the bird song and looking at those little dimples that appear in the lake where fish are coming up to the surface
Mhm.
and grabbing the insects and watching all of that. I mean, who's to say that what we're watching isn't a matrix? It isn't there a distraction as well? We don't
Right.
know. But all I would say is when you embrace that, it does bring you more in line with your true essence
Right. It
rather
calms the
than
nervous system. It
it
calms your
does. Yeah.
automatic nervous system. So, yeah, that's
And
that's so
obviously,
important.
being a musician and a producer, I'm going to advise um, maybe 2 Megadeth albums, a Metallica album, 3 times a day. That's going to heighten you. That's going to calm the nervous system.
Oh
Obviously,
my
throw a bit of
God.
Motorhead in there as well. A little bit of Chaz and Dave for good measure. So no, in all seriousness, though, music, I would say on a daily basis, most of us listen to music. We travel, we put music on or something as we're traveling. Trust your intuition. What are you feeling that day? What mood are you in? You're scrolling through your
Yeah.
playlist. Sometimes we just go on autopilot. Oh, I'm putting that album on. We don't think I had that on yesterday. Go within. How are you feeling today? What kind of mood are you in? Look through your playlist. And then when you get that eureka moment, that alignment, trust it, press play and listen and absorb the energies within that composition. Honestly, it will shift your energy, it will change your focus, and it will energize you. It will be the exact medicine that you need to hear and experience. Because let's face it, music isn't just about hearing, it's an experience. It brings forward emotions, it brings feelings,
Absolutely.
it
Yeah.
inspires us as well, brings color in. Sound and color go together. So a few tips
It
there.
does.
So
Right.
yeah, that would
Right.
be
You
my
know, it's
advice.
really about just sometimes just walking away from the screen, you
Mm.
know? We are so distracted by our screens that we can just get caught up in whatever it is that we're looking at or listening to. And even driving these days, if you drive a newer car, you've got a screen right there in front of you. You've got the screen with your whole uh, the whole front of your phone just appears right there on a screen. You're not you're being notified when you're getting phone calls. You're being notified when you're getting messages. And it can be distracting too. And driving just isn't what it used to be for a lot of people because of the newer vehicles and all of this. But it's also, I mean, there's safety stuff that comes along with that. Don't get me wrong. I drive a newer vehicle. So I get that. But just keeping ourselves, giving ourselves, as Glenn said, the space to not be as distracted, to be able to just allow spirit to come in or allow the downloads to happen, because there is a whole lot of DNA upgrading that's going on when we're receiving downloads. There's a whole lot of stuff. People are now being distracted by every little ache and pain, because anytime that you have the TV or the radio on and you're not listening to just the playlist that you created, you can be inundated by ads from drug companies. And do you have this symptom? And do you have that symptom? And you should go talk to your doctor about this. And I'm not saying don't go to a doctor. I'm saying listen to yourself, listen to your body, listen to your spirit, listen to your spirit guides if you're able to, paying attention to what's actually happening to you, and then asking, praying about it if that's what you do, if you pray about it, or talk to somebody that you know who may have experienced a similar thing, figuring out what's going on rather than getting caught up in, there must be something wrong with me, I'm broken. That's not true, but the Matrix wants us to believe it is. Okay, you're not broken. And even if you do have a medical issue, you're still not broken. That just means that your body needs a little extra attention. So there's so many things that we can use as distractions or that are being used to distract us. I'm just looking at my notes here. Sorry. There are so many things that keep us from being in touch with ourselves, and really being in touch with ourselves is how we find peace in our lives, rather than going along with the status quo, rather than going along with all of uh, the distractions that are happening in the world, or going along with all of the rules and regulations that have been set up for so many years. You know, I live in the States and there's Glenn magically appearing. I know I didn't imagine that.
You
But
told me to move out of the way of my screen, so I did. I took you quite literally.
and here we have a funny guy. All
Oh yeah,
right. So
boom boom.
boom, boom.
I
Oh,
saw the
oh,
look of
okay.
panic on your face when
For a
you
little
realized
bit.
that I wasn't there, and you was like, "I'm looking at my notes."
I did look at my notes. Yeah. But thank you for the monologue because some of that stuff needed to come up. So thank you.
No, that was beautifully put, very eloquent as well. And you're quite right with a lot of the key points that you mentioned. Going back to center, connecting in with yourself, trusting more, and stay in your own lane. You don't have to follow the herd, do you? Just because
No.
I mean, what did you say? The P PP, we'll call it PP. Um,
PNs, non-player NPCs. Is that
No,
what you're
no, I'm
talking? No.
talking about
Oh.
without mentioning it 5 years ago, the PP,
Oh.
the
Oh yeah.
pre, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean that was a classic example. People follow the herd, and then all of a sudden, "Well, hang on a minute.
Yeah.
So yeah, so thank you for
Right.
that.
You're
And I
welcome.
did throw you under the bus with that, but
You
you
did.
you managed beautifully, eloquently.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, Kristina, this has been an absolute pleasure and a wonderful. Have I just shrunk? I think the gas is
Did
going
you
in my
shrink?
chair.
Yeah.
That's what's happened. I'm like,
Your
"Whoop."
your
uh,
hydraulics. You just kind of
yeah. So yeah, I've really enjoyed this conversation about a survival guide to the Matrix, and I certainly hope that it's helped the listeners, the viewers, to maybe make sense. And like you were saying, if people are having troubling times, please reach out to Kristina and myself. We're always here. We can help you any way we can, and maybe
right.
support you in some way, shape, or form. But before we wrap up today, I'd like to ask you, Kristina, what's happening in your world over the up and coming weeks? If you can
Oh
share
boy.
that.
Well, this weekend I get to go home. I get to go back to
Oh,
where I
no
went to
place
high
like
school.
home.
No place like home. It's actually close to home. I mean, I'm going to Rhinelander. Minocqua's 20 miles away, but
Slow
um,
that down. What did you just say? It just sounded like noise. Where are you going?
I am going to Rhinelander,
Okay, I
the
heard that.
home of the Hodag, which is the cryptid we talked about one time.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, I actually went to high school about 20 miles away from there. So I'll be
Okay.
hopping over to Minocqua, which is the other word I said, which is my
Thank you.
hometown. And so I will be going over there, connecting with some people. And that's what I'm doing on Saturday. I have no idea what I'm doing on Sunday. It has not yet presented itself. And then I have a weekend off, believe it or not, a whole weekend off because
Awesome.
we have the Labor Day holiday here in the United States that
How does that
weekend.
work? It's a Labor Day, but you have the day off.
Yeah, yeah, it's I guess it was set up during the Great Depression in the
Okay.
30s or something where yeah, we have a Monday off to celebrate having jobs, I guess, but we don't, most of us don't go to work, but some people, service industries, people are still going to work.
Okay.
So it's basically the end of the summer barbecue thing. So, um, and then after that, like immediately after that, I am leaving for the Maine Paracon in Augusta, Maine, on the
Oh,
East Coast, which is the shortest route I found was just over 22-hour drive. So
ouchie. You need a
yeah, well,
cushion for that seat of yours, that posh car.
yeah, well, I'm doing it my way, right? So I am stopping back in Pennsylvania on the Pennsylvania Ohio border. I have an event set up there to do a seance and some private readings. And then I'm going to go hang out for a day with my paranormal group, the Adirondack Park Paranormal Society in the Saranac Lake area of New
Oh,
York.
my word. All these words.
Yeah, and you thought I couldn't pronounce the British words. Just saying. All right. Then I'm off to Maine. Then I will be off to Maine for the Paracon. I am going to leave myself enough time to at least get to the ocean so that I can connect with the ocean because
Yeah,
the Paracon is about an hour from the coast. So I'm going to take that extra hour and give myself the treat of going
I think you should. You've
and
deserved
sitting
it.
with
Have a
the
little
yeah.
splash about, a little
Have a
paddle.
little splash about, yeah. Then the Paracon is for it's actually Saturday and Sunday, but there's a Friday setup day for all of the people
Mhm.
involved. So that'll be 3 days. And then I will be heading to a different part of Pennsylvania, going south past New York City. And a friend of mine has a spiritual group there, and she has set me up with some events for that week. So, that's another 9 hours of driving to get
Well,
there. And so I probably will not make that all in one shot. I will probably stop and camp along the way. But yeah, then I will be there until Friday, the following Friday. So then I will be driving home that weekend. So it'll be just shy of 2 weeks that I will
that is
be
an
on the road.
epic road trip.
Yeah,
Wow.
I'm really looking forward to it, and
I bet.
meeting more people, and talking to maybe some executives about a certain show you and I did. So I'll let you do that plug.
Okay. Well, first of all, I think, I don't know if I'm the only one that's thinking this, but I want to see a video diary of this epic 2-week adventure. I want to
Yeah,
see it.
send me reminders. I always forget to
Yeah,
do
I
that.
want to see little videos all spliced together. I went here and I went there. We want to see it. Oh, take us on a journey with you.
All righty, I will. I will do that. You have to
Excellent.
remind me though.
Okay, I
I
will.
get in the car, I forgot about videos. I just kind of go into my zone.
When you're there at these events, yeah, that'd be amazing to
Yeah.
watch that. Well, it sounds
Yeah.
like you're very, very busy.
Loving
So
it. Loving it.
Kristina, how can people contact you and how can they book in with your services and how can they listen to your shows that you do? Please feel
Okay.
free to share.
All right. Well, you put it out there, so here I go. All right. So my website is my name, Kristina Bloom. Kristina with a K, Bloom with two O's for those who are listening and not watching. Um, and it's just KristinaBloom.com. You can, from there, listen to some free guided meditations that I have. You can purchase my books. I have 2 books on there, Intuitive You and Wisdom for the Age of Ascension are both available on that website. You can book appointments through me through that website. My event calendar is on there. I'm not exactly sure how caught up that is. I have to make some time on my schedule this week to make sure that that's caught up. Um, you can get a hold of me through Facebook. You can watch my shows on YouTube. My show, by the way, is Paramystic Podcast with Kristina Bloom, and this handsome gentleman right here is my co-host. So, so he's on there sometimes, like I'm on his show sometimes. We trade off like that. But that is also through All Access Network Television. So if you follow All Access Network Television, you can watch it on their YouTube channel, their social media pages, as well as my social media. So that's where you can watch the show. You can join my Facebook group at Kristina Bloom, and then there's a dash, and then your spiritual advisor. I do also have a business page, but I don't like it because it's meta and it drives me crazy. But if you want to contact me through that, it's Kristina L. Bloom, spiritual advisor, because there's other Kristina Blooms out there. So I think that's it. I think that's how people can book in, make an appointment, set up an event, hire me to speak at your event. I do public speaking. I do
And
voiceover. You can
yes, I was going to
get a
mention
hold
the
of me through
voiceover
that.
work. Yeah.
I knew you were. That's why I beat you to
Okay.
it.
Well, you can
All
breathe
right.
now. Well done. I think, yeah, you
Yeah.
deserve a round of applause for remembering all of that. Well done, you. Excellent.
Thank you. Your turn.
Okay. So, if everybody that has been watching this has enjoyed both of our company on here, if you would like to book in with any of my spiritual services, then you can head over to www.glennboddicespiritualmedium.com. I do these readings over online, video or audio. Also, can I let everybody know, please support me because my new book, my third book, is now
Yay.
available and it's called In Good Spirits. It's only available as an audio format. And there's over 10 hours of content there for you to divulge into. So we're talking about all things spiritual, paranormal, how you can interact with energies. There's some help guides, some tips, some tricks. There's also some of my own adventures and escapades in the book as well for you to enjoy and just appreciate the weird and wonderful. So that is available only from my website, www.glenboddicespiritualmedium.com. There's also all of these radio shows are archived on there for you to listen to and download for free there. So you see our very good friend Kristina's episodes up there. If you've missed previous episodes, go and link in and listen back and catch up to where we are now. But thank you. Anyway, Kristina, it's been a pleasure as always. We've probably gone over the hour, but you know, what the hell? Oh, what the hell? It's been good. I've really enjoyed this one. So thank you everybody for listening and viewing, and we look forward to talking weird and wonderful subjects with you at some point in the near future. Take care, everybody.
Excellent.
God bless.
Bye, everyone.
Bye for now.
Thank you for listening to From Beyond. For more information about what products and services Glenn provides, go to Glenn Boddice Spiritual Medium